For some time, you may remember that we introduced the PowerPoint presentations. I can't even remember, possibly even a couple of years ago. And one of the things that we did this summer was we enhanced them. You may or may not like the look. You have the opportunity, if you have any PowerPoint skills, of course, to go in and change things however you want. And then one of the other things we did was we introduced the ability to do Word reports, and we created a few Word templates, retirement assessment, retirement estate assessment, a VisionWorks plan, and also a plan that involves VisionWorks, CorpWorks, and TrustWorks. So the important point to grasp here is that these are what are called templates. So I'm just going to open this up, and you can see the retirement assessment template that we did. And the key about these templates is that they have code built into them. So principal party 1, Bill's name, principal party 2, Sue's name. If we go down a little further to goals, this is just some text that you can enter. Notice the headers, and I put in a Coastal Wealth logo. That's our little fictitious company. But if we go down further and we go to the net worth statement, you can see that this is a table. And in that table, I've inserted code that's used to populate a template with a net worth statement. It's the same concept in VisionWorks. In fact, if we look at Presentation Builder, what you'll see is that we've named this tab now PowerPoint Word. And the reason is that because they're both Microsoft products, a tag is the same for PowerPoint and for Word. So the same tag can be used in both. So you can see this is VW Principal Party 1, Bill VW Principal Party 2. And the way you go about creating these tags is deciding what content you want. And then as an example, you would click the Add button to start a new tag. And then you would select the type. And then you would select something from the list on the right. So rather than creating a new tag, I'm just going to click on the principal party tag, and you can see the type is name photo, and then I have the ability just to open the list and make it principal party 1, principal party 2, and name it accordingly. If I go down a little further, I can go to the total map, and you can see that this comes from the tree map type, and it's a total map, meaning VisionWorks, CorpWorks, and TrustWorks, all three, whomever the parties may be, are brought in to create this total map. So that's how these tags work. Now, I'm hopeful that what we've been able to do for you is create some templates that you'll find sufficiently, satisfactory for you to use them and do presentations rather than necessarily getting into your own tag creation. If you want to get into your own tag creation, by all means, take a kick at the can, and then we'll certainly help you with it. Let's just jump over. We can see this net worth statement tag. So let's just jump over to the Word template. And this is a Word template for a basic retirement assessment plan. And if I scroll down to the net worth area, you can see the financial starting point, the net worth statement, and the tag and the table are essentially, or the tag is exactly the same as it is in PowerPoint. So a tag, depending on which VisionWorks plan you have open and which solution, a tag communicates with VisionWorks and says, populate this table with the net worth statement data from this particular plan and this particular solution. So let's talk a little bit about these templates, these Word and PowerPoint templates. You have the ability with them to do anything that you want. So, you can go into the Word template. Actually, I'm just going to change the view to a single page view. So you have the ability to go into a template, for instance, and just like any Word document, you can, grab content, select it, and then move it around wherever you might want to, change the location, delete pages. You could add blank pages, put in your own content, maybe text content, or perhaps something that comes from another program that you might use, something that has to do with risk assessment, for example. Copy it, something out of some other document and paste it into your Word template. So you have the ability to do any of those sorts of things that you want, delete slides, whatever it might be. So the idea is to maybe run our template to begin, and then go in and modify it however you might like to do. I would recommend to you that rather than modifying the templates we ship, what you might do is make a copy of a template and then go in and modify your version of it so that you keep the kind of default templates in case you want to go back and grab something from them. So today I was able to do something for one of our clients, Seven Oak. So I'm I'm going to do a Seven Oak template today. So these are the templates insofar as the basic content that you want. What we also want to do today is we want to look at these add-ins, and the add-ins are used to modify the templates so that they're branded to your look and feel. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just open up VisionWorks, and I'm going to click on presentations. This is where the PowerPoint and Word features are located. And what you'll see if you look at PowerPoint is that you need to click the install button to install the PowerPoint add-in. It's very straightforward to do. And also, if you click the open manual button, what you'll see is a PDF file that walks you through exactly how to create what's called a settings template. So you have the basic PowerPoint template, which is the output, the content, the Word template, which is the output or content. But then you have what's called a settings template, and it's the settings template that has all the branding elements, colors, font, point size, all of those sorts of things. We'll have a look at that in a minute. So this will walk you through, give you the step-by-step instructions of what to do. Similarly, if you go to the Word tab, you need to click the install button to install the Word add-in, and then open the Word manual that'll walk you through how to work with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up Word, and what you'll see is that once you've installed the add-in, it will now appear on the menu bar. Same thing with PowerPoint. So when you click the Vision Systems Corp add-in, what you'll now see are all sorts of different features. The header font you might want to use, the footer font you might want to use, and so on. I'm just going to scroll up a little bit so we can go back to our table here. And when we go in and start doing some formatting, you'll see that we'll be actually changing the template. So the first thing we need to do is we simply need to create a new template. So you'll want to create, one for you. Click the new button, give it a name. So I'm going to call this Seven Oak. And you'll notice it says no spaces. And if you do, it'll insert a tilde symbol, but you really want to work without the spaces. So now we've got the Seven Oak template, and what we're going to do is we're going to start to change the elements, if you will, the tables, et cetera, et cetera. So the first thing I want to do is I want to set my 7/0 colors. So you should be familiar with RGB, red, green, blue. It's the standard color set. Uh, you should also know what your colors are for your logo. And I'll just remind you that we do have your, hopefully everyone has branded questionnaires. So what we can do is, if you don't have your color set, let me know, and we should have it. And we can set it. What I want to do now is just set all of this so it's 58, 35, and 19. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to start and work across from the left. So these are the colors. It's a kind of a brown color. I want my headers and footers to use Arial, and 9 point is good. So now that I've selected the right colors, Arial 9, I'm going to click the header font button. And what's going to happen is that it's going to go through and change all header fonts. Now you may not see that very clearly because it's brown. And then I'm going to change the footer font. And again, it's something that you may not see clearly. It's just page numbers in this case. One of the other things, though, that I want to do is I want to use this color set in order to change the header color for all my tables. So you can see that's a little symbol of a table. The top is highlighted, so I can click on it and say make all my header colors the brown. And now I'm going to look at my heading font. So throughout these documents, there are heading 1, heading 2, heading 3 template settings. So I'm going to, in this case, make it Calibri. I'm going to make it Calibri light, and I want my headers to be heading 1 fonts to be 20 point. So Calibri light, I'm using the same brown, and I've changed the heading 1 font, and now I'm going to make my heading 2 font a little smaller, 18, change that, and then I'm going to make my heading 3 font, header 3 font, 14. In this case, I'm leaving the text white. So I actually have this set up as being white Arial 10, and I'm going to leave it that way. But depending again on your color set, maybe you've got gold as your header color and you want a black text. So just so you're aware, and it's in the instructions, black is 000, but white is 255, 255, 255. So they're at the opposite ends of the RGB scale. The next thing I want to do is I actually want to change my body text. So in this case, I'm going to use Calibri 11, and I'm going to leave the brown. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change all the body font. So now you can see that that's being changed. And I want to do a few other little things. The text within the tables, I want that also to be brown, but I'm going to, because I have my table numbers, I want to use Arial for that, a little different. So I'm going to make all my table numbers or table content Arial 10. So I'm just going to change all the body font within the tables. And then the final thing I want to do, if you'll notice, there's still blue here, so I want to change that. And I don't want to necessarily make it the same darker brown, so I'm going to just give it a little spice. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the RGB to something that's a little more goldy. And I'm going to apply that to all table borders. So you can see the color now. So finally, what I want to do is I just want to go back and I'm going to do a backup of my template. And I highly recommend you do this just because if for any reason you accidentally change something, the backup is always good to have. So I'm just going to click the backup button and I'm just going to call this 7 Oak Backup. So now I have my 7 Oak settings template, and I have applied it to the retirement assessment template, and I can then go in and build a retirement assessment plan. Now, before I do, there are just a couple of things I want to show you. If I scroll down to some of the graphics, you'll notice that there's a code in here for the 3Cs graphic. And you'll also notice there's a little bar here, and then we've got the text. And this text is actually Arial 10 because what we did was we applied our colors and our font and our point size to all tables. We applied them universally. But in this case, I don't really want to do that. So I can go in and I can edit a particular table. So just as a for instance, I can go in and I can reset my colors. So, you want to think about the order in which you do these things. So I'm going to reset my colors to 58, 35, and 19. Those are the basic brown colors. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the text to Calibri Light, which is what I want to use for general text. And I'm going to make it again 11 point. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the table, and then I'm going to say that I want to apply the Calibri text to the selected body font. So now I can reset that. Similarly, I don't want any lines in these tables. I don't want any header fill. So I'm going to select everything or change everything to white, 255, 255. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the white to the selected header fill, and I'm going to apply the white to the selected table borders. And now I'm going to get the look that I want. So the idea of an add-in is that you can set these different parameters, so to speak, for whatever you want. And then what you can do is universally apply things. But in the process of doing that, there may be some things that you'll want to change. So you'll use these things like selected head fill, selected head font, selected body font, selected table font, or text selection here even, to be able to change things for a specific slide. And then once we're done all of that, then what we can do is we can close this, save this particular template. So I'm just going to save it again to the desktop, which is where I have it. So there's my RA template. So I'm just going to save it. And just to show you how all of this works, I'm going to close this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a different template. Let me just see where I have those. So I'm going to open the retirement assessment template, and I'm just going to resave that again. I don't want to overwrite the generic one. So I'm just going to save that as my 7 Oak template, and I'm going to save it on the desktop. And now that I have it open, what I can do is I can go in and I can open up my 7 backup. It's the one actually I applied the white to, and then I can apply my template settings. Now this takes a bit because it's got to run through everything and change it all. So you can see up here it says not responding because it's literally going through element by element and changing everything that's in the, oh dear. Huh. This is from something I did the other day. Let me try this. There we go. So now I've got, so once I create my template, what I can do is I can open any of the Word templates and apply the settings template to it. So you just have to set up the settings template once, and then when it's set up, you're able to apply those settings, the color sets you want to use, to all the different templates. The PowerPoint template settings, they are different from the Word template settings. So just be aware of that. There are two different add-ins. So as much as we've done it for Word, we would now have to go in and do it for PowerPoint. But you can see that they're all very much the same, you know, headers for slides, table, body text, you know, that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do finally is I'm just going to go in, I've saved that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, let's do a Word report. And this is for a retirement assessment plan. So what I need to do is just load in my template. And you'll recall that we actually put this on the desktop. So I'm going to have to go find it here. So there's my 7 Oak RA retirement assessment template that we worked with. So I'm going to say, okay, let's load that up with data from this particular plan. And you can see the solution we're using is your plan. This is one where we've made a bunch of changes. And the comparative solution is just the initial assessment. Where did you start from? So now all I need to do is click Run Word. This takes a few minutes to do, because, or maybe not a few minutes, but it takes a little bit of time to do, because don't forget it's going in and it's extracting data from all of the, you know, VisionWorks output, and it's populating this Word template as it does it. So, you know, it takes a little bit to go through and populate all the different text tables and you know, or table output and you know, text content and everything else. Now remember, we didn't clean up a number of those graphics, so some of them will still have, you know, that brown header and a border around them, and will be Arial 10 rather than, you know, no border in Calibri 11. But there are only maybe a half a dozen of those types of graphics that you would have to go in and change. So it's not a huge task. We're going to be done in just a couple of minutes as soon as we get to look at this output. So what we'll do is we'll throw things open for questions at that point. So remember, we've got a basic template, the retirement assessment template. You get to choose the content, whatever it is that you want to add to that template. So you can have, you know, something that's very simple, something that's a little more involved, whatever you want to do. And then once you've got your template, it doesn't matter what plan you're using, and whether it's PowerPoint or whether it's a Word document, it's going to populate your template with content from the particular client plan. Just one other thing that I'll point out while we're waiting for this to populate. If you do use the to-do list or the vision list, notice that you have to put in the number of years there. And also, there are check boxes if you're linking to a CorpWorks and TrustWorks plan. So let's just reduce this to a single, to one page. Okay. So now, Why is that not giving me one page? I just want to make it a little smaller so we can see it a little more clearly. So let's go up to the top. So I haven't replaced the logo, which I could do. This text, I would have to edit in the template. But you can see now we've got the brown as we go through. Um, and we've got the parties, the tables in brown, the text in brown, and so on. And one of the advantages, of course, of setting up these templates is that I can go through and I can, you know, edit like I edit a normal Word document. And of course, I can go in and more readily edit text when I'm creating a plan for a particular client. And as we've discussed, I can move things around, delete things, add my own content, do virtually anything I want to do with it. But now you've got greater control to create a much more customized look and feel. So you can see here, for instance, this was the table. I used a table with these templates just to be able to organize everything, position it where I wanted it. So here's the table with the graphic and the text that had all those lines and things, and we removed them. But you can see we didn't remove it from this table. So I just have to go into this table in the template and say, don't apply table borders, don't apply, the header fill and so on. So I'm going to open things up now and we'll entertain questions.
The conference is now in talk mode.
So, questions, I'm sure there are going to be lots.
Mike, when
Yes.
you're in that initial stage where you're playing around with the colors in Word and stuff,
Yes.
I was just looking at it on my computer. Was waiting. You clicked on each of the different items. Like if you go back, like the header, you changed the color, then you went header font, footer font, header one font. Is there any way when you're in the template to know which is which? Like when you're looking at a page, like initially. So like,
if you look at the template, so
say like I'm looking at the 3 C's that was there.
Yeah.
Is there a way to tell which header that is?
Yeah, but right now, what I've got open is I've got the completed Word document open.
Oh, okay.
If we open, and that's okay, I can still use it. But if we were to open the template, you'd see like that little triangle there. Yeah. But what you're really talking about, if I go to home, you're really talking about
those
styles.
Yeah.
And so if you open the styles list and scroll down, you'll see that the styles are actually built into the templates. You can change those styles.
No. What I guess I was getting at was if I'm looking at doing the modifications to change the colors from the initial template.
Yes.
When I'm there, and I'm on your menu bar, right?
Yeah.
How do I know, like when I'm looking at this page, assets is heading 1, heading 2, or heading 3?
So what you have to do is you have to go to home so that you can go to styles.
Okay.
Okay. Then you have to open the styles list.
And then highlight it.
And then you just have to click on something and it'll tell you what style that is.
Okay. So then when you go back to your menu,
exactly. Yes.
I know which one it is. Okay.
Yes. So you can see assets and liabilities here. And then if we go up further, you can see net worth is heading 2, assets, net worth and the assets liabilities pie graph. But you can see financial starting point is heading 1.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Good. That's what I was trying to figure out. How do if I'm playing around with colors.
And then what you'll also see if you go up to the table of contents is that the table of contents is built based on whether something's heading 1 or heading 2 or heading 3. So you can see financial starting point is heading 1. So the style for heading 1, and you can change all of this. Yeah. The style for heading 1 is that it's bold. The style for heading 2, net worth, assets, liabilities, is that it's indented and not bold.
Right.
Okay, so you get to change all of this stuff around however you want, but that's getting into the use of styles.
Yeah.
So be my guest, and it's not difficult to do. But what we tried to do in building these templates was do something that to minimize the amount of editing that you would have to do.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you might be very skilled in Word and PowerPoint, and if so, go to it. Any other questions that have come up?
No, this looks good.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time. I encourage you to play with this a little bit. I think you'll find it gives you a whole new dimension for presenting to clients. And as I said, we'll be doing this again next week, and hopefully recording it successfully, and then we'll post it on YouTube. And I will send out an email once it's up and let everybody know.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, and have a great weekend. Thanks for your time today.
You too.